guys, it's Liza and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be giving you a book haul. So this is a collection of all of the books that I have read and have yet to read. Some of them are new and some of them are quite old, but I'm also going to be giving you what my Goodreads rating of them is and what I thought of the book. So let's get started. Okay, to start off with books that I have read, first one is History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I absolutely love this book. It is one of the only books that have ever made me cry, and for that reason I am giving it 5 stars. Highly recommend reading this if you haven't already. So the next book, also written by Adam Silvera, is They Both Die at the End. This book is so beautifully written. I think Adam Silvera is probably one of my favourite authors, especially after reading both of these books. Again, one of the only books that have ever made me cry, and 5 stars, highly recommend. So the next one is The Death House by Sarah Pinborough. I really enjoyed reading this. This is the second book that I have read by the author. It is not suitable for young readers, so kind of 14 upwards I would say, but I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give that 4.5 stars, again well worth a read. So the next one is a book that probably everyone has heard about, and that is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This has been on my bookshelf for absolutely ages because I got it for my birthday a few years ago and I just haven't got around to reading it until the beginning of the year. But I absolutely love it. It is one of the best books that I have read. If you haven't read it, then please do. It did almost make me cry. It didn't make me cry, but it almost made me cry. And so for that, I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. The next book is Stags by M.A. Bennett. So you may be able to see that my bookmark is still in it. I haven't finished it yet, but I have almost finished it. I've got like one more chapter to go, but I have finished the main storyline and I absolutely love it. If you really enjoy kind of murder mysteries and thrillers, definitely for you. It's the first book that I've read by Bennett, and I really enjoyed it, and so 4.5 stars, even though I haven't finished it yet. So the next one is Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. I absolutely love all of the Agatha Christie murder mysteries, and I have so many more, but they're all currently in storage. But I did keep Murder on the Orient Express out of storage because it is one of my favourite Christie books, just because of the ending and the whole storyline in itself. It's so exciting, and the ending is not one that I could have predicted. And I do love rereading Christie books because after I find out who the murderer is, I like to go back and see what clues she has dropped into the story. 4 stars, definitely well worth a read if you haven't already. So the next book is one of my comfort books. So that is The Lie Tree by Francesca Harding. I haven't actually read any more of Harding's other books. I think she's got 4 others kind of around the same kind of theme. They're on the back of the book. But I've only ever read The Lie Tree and it is so beautifully written. It's again kind of a thriller. It's not really a murder mystery, but it's kind of a mystery thriller. And I read this first when I was about 13, and I've come back to it every single year whenever I want to read a book that I know and that I'm familiar with. But yeah, 4 stars, highly recommend. Next one is again one of my comfort books, and that is The Girl of Ink and Stars by Kieran Millward Hargrove. This is so beautifully well written. Again, it's kind of aimed at younger readers. I first read this when I was about 13, but it's one of the ones that I keep coming back to again if I just want a familiar book that I just want to sit and relax and read. So good, really recommend. So we've got a classic, Swallows and Amazons next by Arthur Ransom. I haven't actually read Swallows and Amazons for ages, but my mum used to read this to me when I was younger, and I absolutely love it. It's one of those nostalgic stories that take you right back to your childhood. I really do need to reread this, but I'm giving it 4 stars for the nostalgia. So another classic is Ballet Shoes by Noel Streathfield. Again, so beautifully well written. I used to have this read to me when I was younger and keep coming back to it for the nostalgia of the story, and it is so beautifully well written as well. 4 stars again. So the next one is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I do have another one of her books that I haven't read yet, but I really enjoyed One of Us is Lying. It's that murder mystery, high school group of unusual friends. Highly recommend if you have not read it. It came out a few years ago now, and she's released other books since then, kind of along the murder mystery type theme, that I still haven't read. I've only got one of her other books, but 4 stars. So my next lot of books are kind of 3.5 stars and under. So to start off, we've got 13 Minutes, again by Sarah Pinborough. I did really enjoy this book. It's one of the first ones that I read, but I think it's more kind of tween murder mystery, if that makes sense. It is still a really good book, and I do recommend. I haven't read it for a while, so my opinion on it might have changed, but when I did originally read it, I was about 12 or 13, and as one of the reviews say at the front, Mean Girls for the Instagram age, which kind of gives you a hint as to why I have given it 3.5 stars, but it is still a really good book. So the next one is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. Again, I read this one when I was about 12, 13 and did really enjoy it then. I haven't gone back and read it again because it wasn't one of those books that I read and I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It was just kind of an average book. I mean, the writing is beautiful and the storytelling is lovely. I just think it's a bit too young for me now. So again, 3.5 stars, but it is a really good book if you are kind of around 13, 12 kind of age. So the next one is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Now, I'm of 2 minds of this book because the story I really enjoyed. It's just the writing that I have an issue with. It is just really simple writing, and as I was reading it, I did pick up on how simple the writing was. It was still a really good book, and I did enjoy it. I just think I read it too late, so I read it at the beginning of this year. But I think if I was kind of 14 and I read it, I would really enjoy it, and it would be higher up on my rating. But just for the writing in general, I'm going to give it 3 stars. Now the next book my rating of is going to be very controversial. It's Paper Towns by John Green. Now everyone really hypes up John Green's writing from what I've heard. I didn't particularly enjoy reading Paper Towns. I mean, some of the storyline is really good, and again, I haven't read it for ages, and so I may need to reread it and kind of refresh my mind, but it's again not one of those books that I am rushing back to read. I just didn't really get what the hype of the book was about, and kind of the writing in general. I mean, it is really good writing, and John Green is a brilliant author. He's just not for me, and so I'm going to give it 3 stars, possibly 2.5, which I know is very controversial because loads of people do love his writing, but I just think there are better authors out there. So moving on to the next half of the video, we've got books that I haven't read yet. So some of these books are ones that I've got recently and haven't read, and some of them are books that I got ages ago and still haven't read. So I'm going to show you what books that I've got kind of in order of how I'm most excited about to read them. So the first one, which is the book that everyone seems to be talking about at the minute, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I've seen so much about this book and how amazing that it is that I just had to read it. And I really love all of the kind of Greek mythology, and because it is kind of based around Greek mythology, I think I will really like it. I'm just so excited to see what the hype is all about. But can we just take a moment to appreciate the cover of this, because it is one of the prettiest covers of a book that I have seen, and it comes with a built-in bookmark. It's the little things that get me excited, but I am so excited to read this book, and I think that's going to be probably the next one that I read. So the next one, which is another one that I have seen highly recommended, is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. As you can see, it is quite a big book. It is bigger than The Book Thief. I know it's not the biggest book out there, and a lot of people read books like this regularly in evenings, although I haven't read a book this big in years, so I think it's going to take a while for me to get through. But I am really excited about this. Now, usually I don't go for the kind of adventure fantasy books, which this, from what I've heard of, is, but I am really excited to read it because loads of people say that even if you're not kind of into that theme, you will really enjoy it. And so I am really excited to read this. I know she's got another book that is really hyped, which I think is called The Circle, that I do want to read if I like this, but I'm going to give this one a go first before I buy it, just in case I don't like it, although I am really hoping that I am, because I know you're not meant to judge a book by its cover, but the cover is again beautiful. So another book that I am really excited about is What If It's Us? Now, this is a joint book between Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. As I said earlier, Adam Silvera is one of my favourite authors, so I am really excited to read this. I think Becky Albertalli wrote, the Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I haven't read that, but it is meant to be really good, so I am really excited about that. I have heard mixed reviews of it. Some people say that it is absolutely amazing and one that you definitely have to read, and other people have said that it is kind of just an average book, but I really hope that it is good, and I am so excited to read this. So the next one is one that I've only recently got but came out ages ago, I think, is The Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I've been wanting to read this one for absolutely ages, but just never got around to getting it, because whenever I go to the bookshop I completely forget that this book exists for some random reason. But I finally got it for my birthday, and I am really excited to read it. It looks so good, and I do really love kind of all the murder mystery books, so I am very excited to read this. So the next book is a trilogy of books, and I bought all of them, and that is the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. I bought the box set of all three because it was cheaper to buy the box set than to buy the books individually. This box set was actually recommended to me by one of my close friends and said that I would really enjoy it based off what she knows that I've enjoyed previously. And I am so excited to read it. From what I can think, yes, it is a murder mystery again, and I am just so excited and very happy that I got the trilogy, because what I hate is when you finish a book but you can't get the next one in the series straight away, or you put down a book and then you have to order the book and it takes like 3 to 4 days to arrive, and then you've forgotten everything that happens in the first book. So I'm very happy that I've got the series, so I can just switch between them. But again, another one that I am really excited to read. So moving on to the books that I've had on my bookshelf for ages but still haven't read. I've got Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen M. McManus. So she's the one that wrote One of Us is Lying. I did start reading it. I think I got to like page 4 and then put it down for some random reason. So I do really need to read it. It is meant to be very good, although what I am worrying about is that it's not going to be as good as I thought One of Us is Lying was, because of course I read One of Us is Lying a few years ago and I'm now much older, but I do still hope that I really enjoy it. So my next book is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I bought this one at the same time as Everything Everything when I was younger, and now I'm looking at it and I am a bit worried that I'm not going to like it because it's going to be too young for me, although I think it is one that I do really need to read at some point. I'm just not desperate to read it, but I think it is one that I do really want to read at some point when I have read the ones that I'm really excited about. I do hope that it's good and that I can give it more than 3 stars like I gave Everything Everything. So the next one is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Neven. I started this multiple times, and I started it when I got it, and then the year after, and then the year after that, and I think as far as I got was about page 50. I don't know if it was because I kept forgetting what happened, so I went back to the beginning, or if I forgot that I didn't like it, but I do really want to read it because the film has been released, and I haven't watched the film yet because I really want to read this first. So I do need to get around to reading it before I watch the film, but again, it's not one that I am absolutely desperate to read. And then the final book that I haven't read yet is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. So I bought this one at the same time as I bought Paper Towns. I read Paper Towns first, even though The Fault in Our Stars is meant to be the better one. I am nervous about reading this one because I don't particularly like Paper Towns as much as people kind of say they like it, so I am a bit worried about The Fault in Our Stars and the hype, and that it's going to be overhyped. And so it is another one that I'm not desperate to read, but I think I should read it just to give kind of John Green another chance and to see what I feel about it, especially now that I am a bit older. So that is all of the books that I've got on my bookshelf. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and that you can see what my ratings are and maybe find a new book that you want to read. Again, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!